up, guys? I'm here to help some of you parents and things learn the differences between BMX bikes that you're going to actually ride at a skate park and what I call BMX style bikes. So a lot of you parents, I'm sure, have kids out there that are trying to ride BMX, just learning, and they want a BMX bike for Christmas or something like that. So Christmas is coming up. A lot of y'all are getting your shopping done. Some of y'all might have already got it done, but I want to hopefully help y'all get a bike that your child's not going to get hurt on, and also is going to help them progress at the skate park. That way they get their full money's worth out of that bike, and later on be able to upgrade that bike as well as they progress and get better and whatnot. So I'll start off showing you the difference between a department store bike, and then I'll go up and explain the differences of what makes it a better bike and why you need to avoid places like Walmart and Target and things like that and buying a BMX bike. So right here is what I call a BMX style bike. So the idea of the bike is to look like a BMX bike. However, it's not technically meant to be riding at the skate park. And the reason being is, first off, these bikes are made in China by the cheapest bidder possible, which means the quality is very lacking. First off, the issue with the material here is made of what's called high tensile steel, which is very weak. I think the tensile strength is 1030, whereas a chromoly bike like these over here, the tensile strength is a lot higher, 4 times the tensile strength, so it's 4 times stronger than these bikes. Another issue is these weld qualities. The paint on this is kind of thick to tell. You can see, if you don't know much about welding, it's hard to explain, but you can see like it doesn't look like they got full penetration on the welds. They probably overheated the welds a lot, which makes the metal a lot weaker. So these bikes are also a lot heavier. So they use bigger tubing to try and make up some of the strength of that, which makes it a lot heavier bike. High tensile steel is also a lot heavier as well. Another issue you'll find is this stem. This is called a threaded headset. So this style headset was on BMX bikes in the 80s. We don't use this anymore. One, this is a 1-inch tubing, whereas these bikes are 1 1/8 inch, so they're bigger and stronger. This also adds a lot of weight and a lot of issues with your forks moving around, the bars slipping, and things like that. This one also has what's called a 0 offset fork. That stuff is more personal preference, but having the wheel put on the fork like that is not really meant for like riding at the skate park and things like that. The wheels are cheap. They're unsealed hub. The bearings in the hubs are unsealed and things like that. You got big sprockets and old style, I think they call these cog style hubs, and just stuff like that. The bikes are built very cheap, so they're able to sell them at these stores very cheaply. They're very mass produced. They're focused more on quantity than quality of the bike. You can see right there, made in China. That's a big thing to watch out for, just made in China bikes. Because like I said, they're more focused on quantity than quality on these bikes. The weld quality's poor. The metal quality's poor. And I mean, you get these bikes, it's going to be heavy, and your child's going to have trouble jumping them, possibly hurting themselves on these. And this is very dangerous just to get on these and send them out to the skate park, So let's talk about a real BMX bike. So this one is an Australian built company. I think they're made in Australia as well. They're kind of harder to find because of that, colonies. This bike is an intermediate bike, but it is meant for a shorter rider. This company does make some more affordable bikes for beginners and things like that, and I'll just explain what the differences are and stuff like that. Why this bike is better than that bike, and why it's better to spend the extra $100 or $200 to get this bike rather than that bike. So first off, this bike is made completely out of chromoly. Everything on this bike, handlebars, frame, the forks, even the crank arms here, they're all chromoly. Chromoly is a lot stronger. Like I said, it's 4130 tensile strength, whereas the high tensile steel is 1030. So you can tell, 10 times stronger. That means the bike's going to last a lot longer, and it's going to hold up better, especially to falls and things like that. Your kid's going to be learning, they're going to fall. You know, you don't want the bike to break on the first or second try going over a ramp, and then you have to buy them another bike. So the thing to look at, and some of the other higher end brands, I don't want to call them out on it, but they're selling high tensile steel bikes as well on their lower spectrum, the cheaper ones. High tensile steel is good for jumping off curbs and things like that. Now, if they're going over ramps and jumping on top of ramps and stuff like that, you need to kind of look into the chromoly. There is a price difference. The high tensile steel ones are going to be, you know, $250, $300, where this bike is $500. But it's going to last a lot longer, is what I'm trying to put at, and it's a lot safer. You don't want a bike that has high tensile steel bars, because the most common place for them to break is right here, snaps off here, and then you got an edge here, and if your handlebar breaks, you're going forward, and now you got a knife essentially coming at you. So I'm not trying to scare y'all or nothing, but you know, that's what makes these bikes a little bit better. The weld quality, these are hand welded, and they focus on these welds. A lot of BMX companies know this is the biggest problem when it comes to strength of bikes. Bikes are breaking from weld qualities. They see that and they try to focus mainly on the weld, getting a good full penetration on the weld, so it's welded all the way through to the other side, making sure the metal is not overheated, things of that nature. This bike also has, on the hubs here, these bearings are sealed. They will last a lot longer. Keeps dirt out, a little bit of moisture, things like that. What makes this an intermediate bike though over a beginner's bike is these wheels are double walled on the rims. A beginner doesn't need double wall rims per se. They're stronger. Double wall means is, you can see the outside here, this outside skin of it is one wall, and then on the inside of it, it has another layer of metal doubling up, so it has higher strength to keep it from bending. You can look up some good diagrams online and things like that, and it shows you cutaways of these wheels. Like I said, with the stem, or the forks and all, you can see this is not a threaded stem. This fork is a CNC fork, one-piece steer tube. That's not a big deal with beginners if it's a welded one. If they give you that detail, it's not a big deal. Some of them, they're two pieces, some of them one pieces. But it comes straight through, and then you got a bolt on here that tightens this down, and then two bolts on the stem that clamps it. This is an 1 1/8. 1 1/8 inch tubing, whereas the other one's 1 inch. That's a lot stronger. Even mountain bikes and things like that, they stay away from that 1 inch steer tube. They all do the 1 1/8 inch because it's a lot stronger and better. This also, if you get a cheaper version bike where it might have a chromoly frame and it has high tensile steel forks, that's fine, as long as it has the 1 1/8 inch steer tube. You can switch those out if the forks break. You can get aftermarket parts. This is the integrated headsets. You can get bearings for these all day long. Yeah, the other one, it has these cups that press in. You can get bearings for them, but not many manufacturers make them because that is an old style. Another thing to know that's a good bike you're getting is the bottom bracket. Usually, most BMX bikes have what's called a mid bottom bracket. That means the bearing goes straight into it. There's no cup that has to be pressed in and then the bearing pressed into it. This is a more modern style. It's a rare thing to find Spanish and the Euros. I'm sure if you do, those bikes are going to be well overpriced for what you're looking for. And so you want to look, if it's got a mid-bottom bracket, that means they're keeping up with the times. They're making sure that the bike is more modern and things like that. You'll see a lot of them will have like the integrated bolt seat clamps. Some of them not. That's not a big deal. Yeah. But the main focus is chromoly frame, at least. It's nicer to have the chromoly bars and stuff, but like I said, as long as it's a modern style frame like this, you can switch those things out without any issues. There's plenty of aftermarket companies that make them and things like that. So this is the Colony Inception. It's a good bike. It might be out of your price range. I think the new ones, I got this one used, or not used, but on a clearance for like $300. This is fully chromoly, chromoly bars, chromoly fork, chromoly 3-piece cranks, which is a pretty good deal. 3-piece cranks isn't the biggest deal when you're learning to ride, but it's a plus. They're stronger and usually lighter. Double wall wheels, all sealed bearings, and things like that. $300 for all of that is a great deal. But like I said, this was on clearance. This was the 2018 model, and I bought it this year, so they were just trying to get rid of them. The newer ones, the new models, I think they run about $500. This is also what I was saying about being a shorter person's bike. The head tube here, from the middle here to the middle here, is 19.8 inches. So this is shorter. So the handlebars are closer to you, more of a short person rider, as well as the seat tube length here is 7.5 inches. So it sits lower, like I said, for a shorter rider. If you can get them, if you can afford to get them this, they'll probably have this bike, learning to ride, they'll probably have this bike for about 3 years. When they start getting better, it is good to start upgrading. If you're riding every single day, riding really hard every single day, they say you should change your frame out every year, but them learning to ride, that's not a big deal. Like I said, if they're just starting out, they might have been riding on a ramp and you're looking to get them a BMX bike so they can progress and stuff like that. They'll probably be on this for about 3 years without any issues. You might, have to change out, I don't know, pedals and things like that when they get worn out, because these are plastic pedals. It's a common thing now. Not big of a deal. Pedals are cheap. Might have to switch out a seat. The seat might get torn or something like that, or switch out tires, or replace a bearing here or there, or brake pads. But that's it. Very inexpensive things. So you need to look overall into it. Oh, you're going to buy them a $120 bike from Walmart, and it's only going to last them 6 months, maybe a year, before it breaks, and then you can't get parts for it because it's not a modern style bike. It's only meant to look like a BMX bike, but not actually be ridden like one. Versus this, where they're going to ride it for 3 or 4 years before probably needing another pair of forks or bars or something like that, and they'll probably be wanting to change those out just to get a different color or something like that, or ride their favorite riders. So that's the main differences in them. the companies to look at are, like I said, Colony, very good brand. Shadow Conspiracy, they got great complete bikes for beginners. Colt, We the People, things like that. You can go on to Empire BMX, can't think their name, Albs or whatever the name is, Source BMX. Dan's Comp is, I don't know, they just got under new ownership, so I don't know how their new owners are. They used to have trouble keeping things in stock. Hopefully they get better with the new owners and things like that, but you can check them out as well. Some other places to look is The House. It's like a sporting store on the line. They're pretty good. And chainreactioncycles.com or something like that. They're pretty good. Those two are where you're going to find the Colony brands at, most likely. Or you can just look the brands up on Google and it should bring you a link to it. Like I said, Shadow Conspiracy, I love their parts. I ride pretty much my whole bike is Shadow Conspiracy parts. Really good company to ride for. Colt's a good company. A lot of people ride those bikes. We the People has been around for a long time. They're really good and really in-depth to the BMX community. So those are some tips you need to look at for buying your kid a bike and everything and whatnot. So hopefully I caught y'all before y'all bought something for your kid. If you bought something from Walmart, you can return it and they'll give you a refund. If you still don't want to believe me on the quality of department store bikes, just go on YouTube, go on search, and just type in Walmart BMX bike challenge. There's a lot of riders out there and they ride those BMX bikes to show you how weak they are. And they literally destroy the entire bike in one day, riding them and everything. And it's a big safety issue. Like I said, those are BMX style bikes. They're not actual BMX bikes like these. So I don't like seeing kids out there on those Walmart bikes. It scares me because they're falling down, and I know those bikes can't really handle it, and I don't want to see a kid have their handlebar break and end up getting stabbed or something stupid like that. So, like I said, return that Walmart bike, go online and find one of these. They do come taken apart when you order them, but there's plenty of bike shops to put them together. There's plenty of how-tos on it, as well as just go ask somebody. In my local area here in the Eastern NC area, I actually will put bikes together for people before Christmas and look over the whole bike, make sure everything's tightened, greased up, and everything's ready to ride on that Christmas day. And I don't even charge very much to do that. So, I mean, look around. This video, I'm not telling you by no means to go out and buy a $1,500, $2,000 bike like this. I've been riding for a long time, since 1995. I took a 10-year break in between, but I ride at about intermediate level, but there's probably more bike than I even need, but I want to make sure that I have no excuse for why I can't do something. I can't say it's because of this on my bike. There's no excuse I can't do something. So that's why I ride such a high-end bike. But everything on this bike is somewhat similar to the ones I showed you earlier. Somewhat similar to that Colony bike. There's just minute differences that makes this a lot better. Mainly, this whole frame is completely custom for me. This is what I like. The head tube length, you're going to be hard finding that size. The seat tube length is going to be hard finding that size in a production bike. It's going to be hard finding the color that I wanted. So this whole frame is exactly what I wanted, how I want to feel comfortable riding. You know, the most expensive one, these aren't even the most expensive fork, but they're top of line forks. You know, nice bars for the size I want. But I'm not saying you have to spend this much money on a BMX bike for them to learn and get your money's worth out of it. Uh, I'm just saying that there is a safety concern buying the cheapest ones there are versus buying an intermediate kind of mid-level BMX bike. And I want y'all to make y'all aware of it. This bike is, like I said, fully chromoly here. Everything. Double wall wheels. The difference is these wheels, when they bend them around, these are welded. The other ones, they have pins in them to hold them together. That's fine for a learner, but welded is stronger. So I have, welded wheels and things like that. Just, there's very little differences, but it makes big differences. But I'm not saying go get them. You're going to look online and you're going to look at those companies and be like, oh my gosh, there's bikes up here that cost, thousands of dollars and things like that. You don't need those bikes. I'm just saying shop around and find one around $300 to $400 is a good price range for a beginner bike. I know it seems like it's expensive, but like I said, it's going to last them 3 or 4 years and they're going to progress a lot better out of it. These bikes, the Colony and this one, both weigh 25 pounds. Those department store bikes weigh probably about 37 pounds. So your kid probably doesn't have a lot of muscle. So them trying to wheel around and muscle around a 30-pound bike versus a 25-pound bike is a massive difference. When I was growing up, my BMX bike weighed 38 pounds or 40 pounds, and I could not do anything hardly. I could jump and I could move around, but the bike controlled me and I didn't control the bike. It wasn't until I got a new progressive frame, a company came out and made a frame that was a lot lighter, and even then that bike was 32 pounds. At that time that was lightweight, and just taking off that 6 pounds, I progressed so much better. I learned so much more. I was able to be in control of the bike versus me just holding on and just letting the bike do its thing. So there's a big difference in weight and stuff like that. You need to look into it. Your average BMX bike should be around 26 to 25 pounds. That's pretty average for a fully built bike now. So that's another sign that it's not a good quality bike. It's just going to be like 30 something pounds. Stay away from those. Mongoose, stay away from them. They're Mongoose riders the pros. Mongoose riders don't even ride Mongoose bikes. I think only 1 or 2 of them, and it's their most high-end bikes. But the others, they ride fully custom frames built by somebody, and they just stick Mongoose stickers on them. That's bad to say. It sounds bad. Even Hyper has done the same thing, has paid somebody to make custom frames for them, and the riders just stick the other brand's name on them. It's kind of bad in a way, but I mean, I guess I get it. It is what it is. But like I said, just watch out. Don't be deceived by looks and prices and stuff like that. Just do your research, and you can find a good affordable bike for them that they'll progress, and they'll enjoy riding. They'll love it, and they'll just want to keep coming to the park and ride and doing what everybody else is doing and whatnot. So yeah, I hope this video helps a lot, and I hope it keeps some kids safe and whatnot, and I hope some people learn some things from it. So one last thing to talk about, and it's probably one of the most important parts that my hair is doing some funky stuff. I just got back from skate park, sorry. This is probably one of the most important parts besides the bicycle, and that is helmets. If a kid's not going to wear any knee pads or anything, they need to be at least wearing a helmet. I have had numerous concussions over the years. I've been knocked unconscious and stuff. Head injuries are not fun. They cause unseen issues later on. I know kids see some of the pros out there riding the street not wearing helmets and things like that. Let me tell you personally, from my experience, those guys are idiots. I ride street with a helmet, so should they, but that's their personal choice. They can do what they want to do. They can hurt themselves if they want to hurt themselves. But it's silly not to wear a helmet. I mean, you only get one brain, why not protect it? The thing you want to look at with a helmet is you're going to want to look inside. There'll be a sticker. Move the strap out of the way. Like this. You can see in there, the CPSC. That's what you want to see. That means this helmet is certified for BMX. They will advertise it. If it's not advertised as a certified helmet, then it's not certified. They will put that in the description because that is a selling point for the helmet. So they'll make sure that you know it's certified. I like the 888 here. That's a good brand. I'll put it on. As you can see, it fits really well. I have kind of a small head, so it doesn't look weird on my head and everything. It feels great. It's very comfortable. Even, you can see, without the buckle, it doesn't move around on my head. It doesn't fall off or anything. It's a great helmet. I really like them. I like the style. I like the style when it comes down here. It's not a big deal. Another good one is Shadow Conspiracy. This helmet is super light. This is their feather light one. It is a lot more expensive. I think this one was like $35. This one's like $60. So, and as you can see, I have taken a couple hits on it, you know, and it's really saved me. Again, this one is certified. Yeah, the stickers right here. It's kind of harder to read. It's a little bit smaller, but they advertise it as certified. The one thing I like about this helmet, it is kind of big looking. If you have a small head, it is going to look kind of weird on it. But again, it's a great helmet. It's extremely lightweight. See, it doesn't move around on my head. And I'm sure if your kid's riding BMX and whatnot, they're probably looking on YouTube and following, you know, Scotty Kramer and all of those guys, and probably will want the Shadow Conspiracy Big Boy helmet. It's the same exact helmet. It has pictures on it and stuff like that he designed, and it's a good looking helmet. Not gonna lie, it's a great looking helmet. I wish they didn't look so big on my head so I could get one, but it is what it is. Like I said, certified helmet is going to have this EPA foam or something like that, this kind of styrofoam looking material. That is what saves you. This, when you hit your head, it will crack, and that cracking is spreading the energy around instead of it going straight to your head. The foam here is mainly just to keep your head comfortable against it. It's mainly that hard foam that saves you. When they wear it, you'll notice a lot of guys, they don't wear the helmet. It doesn't need to be super tight. I mean, I keep mine loose because when I'm riding around, if it's tight, it's hard to breathe and stuff like that. This strap is mainly to keep the helmet from falling off the head. But the helmet isn't, if it's fitted properly, it's not going to move on your head at all. Like I said, see, I can't even, it takes a lot. It's not going to fall off the head like that. But when I hit my head and it gets pushed, the strap is going to keep it from falling completely off my head. That is all. I'm no expert on it, so that's just how I see it. If you know, someone else, you know, says otherwise, I mean, take it how you want to take it and listen who you want to listen to, that's fine. The people researching concussions and all, though, they will tell you no helmet will stop a concussion, because a concussion is your brain moving inside your head. However, a certified helmet like this will lessen the amount of damage that is done to your skull and to the brain, because what it's doing is it's slowing down the G-forces as you're falling. So your head is slowing down at a slower rate, than with what they call a skate helmet, where you'll see a lot of people have them. Instead of this hard foam, it's like a soft foam. Those are skate helmets, and that's what I've wore for years and years, because I didn't know any better, and now that I learned and have seen the research and the data and the information on it, I quickly switched over to a certified helmet. So if you're getting helmets, make sure they're certified for BMX. Like I said, 888, Shadow Conspiracy, TSG is another good brand, 187 Killer, they're a good brand. ProTech does have certified helmets. They're made a little bit cheaper. I don't really like them because they kind of look weird on a lot of people's head. A lot of people complain about them, but nonetheless, if that's the brand you want, get that. You got hang on, I had a brain. Prime, Pryme, is another good brand. Bell has been around for years making race car helmets, motorcycle helmets, and they're a good brand to have. If your kid wants a full face, obviously get them a full face as well. There's a lot of companies out there. Those are certified, has certifications as well. Do not go by DOT certifications. If the helmet has no other certification besides DOT, it's no good. DOT certifications on full faces, dirt bike helmet stuff, DOT is an honored system. All the company has to say to put that sticker up there is that the helmet was tested to their standards. That is it. Unfortunately, a lot of these Chinese companies and these helmet companies that are only DOT certified are not testing them. This helmet's made very cheap, and they will mess you up. Full face company, I think the certified, I know on race cars and motorcycles, like street motorcycles, I don't know if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a company certifying company called Snell, SNEEL. That company, that's the ones that actually certifies helmets. Those helmets, full faces and things like that. Like I said, I know racing, because I do race cars. I know like some of the Pro-Am and higher, they require it to be a Snell certified helmet, not DOT. And that is why. I'm not sure if dirt bike helmets have Snell ratings. I want to say yes, if they do rate, you know, street motorcycle helmets and stuff like that. So if it's a full face, you know, make sure it's at least the BMX certification, if not the Snell and whatnot. I advocate, you know, knee pads and shin pads as well. Make sure the knee pads, they wrap all the way around their knee and not just the strap that goes around. It has a whole back system to it. ProTech is good. 187 Killer is good. Shadow Conspiracy has some good knee pads. I think Fuse, is that the name of the brand? F-U-S-E. They have knee pads that go under the pants. Those are a good brand and whatnot. I believe TSG still makes knee pads and whatnot. So, you know, look at those pads. 187 Killer and ProTech are going to be the more affordable choice and a more trusting brand for those prices of like $10 or $20 for a set of knee pads and whatnot. But yeah, you can do your research on it and find it. But my biggest thing is make sure they're wearing helmets and that they are certified for BMX. Make sure that they fit properly as well. If the helmet's too big, it's going to fall off of them and it's going to be no good. So just make sure the helmet's good and certified and fits properly. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope some people learned some stuff from me. I hope some people took some information and it will help some people out. So please like and subscribe if you like these contents. I try to do random videos of, you know, racing and BMX. So if you hit like and subscribe, you'll come up with those videos and whatnot as well. So thanks for watching.